Oh, people are showing up. Is Instagram finally working? Is Instagram, oh, yay! I tried to go live a few minutes ago and you guys, there was no one here. And I was like, okay. And I was just like talking and I was talking about stuff and I was like talking. Okay, so earlier today, I'm just gonna put this out there. I have been on, I don't even know how to put this because I don't want to like spread misinformation and I also don't want to start a debate. But one thing that really sort of bothers me with platforms and people that have really large platforms is when misinformation spreads. And it drives me batty when people have these beliefs that things that are really good for the wider community are bad. So there are people that have platforms where they spread this misinformation, and it doesn't matter what you tell them. It doesn't matter the evidence that you show them. It doesn't matter that there's scientific studies that prove what you're saying. It doesn't matter that you show them evidence of 120 plus like research studies that show this thing that they say is not true. It doesn't matter to them. And I have, over the course of my career, been an advocate for people to vaccinate. And it's because my son is medically fragile. And it's because we were late to get ours done. And it's because of that getting late and him getting late because he was on a ventilator and on life support, he ended up contracting pertussis, which is whooping cough. And it was probably the worst thing that we've ever experienced as a family. I mean, one of the worst things we've experienced as a family. And it was totally preventable. It was preventable. It didn't have to happen. He couldn't get those shots because he was so sick. And it took us a really long time for him to get completely caught up. And by the time he got caught up, he already had it. And if you have to go through something that is like preventable, it's really hard on your mama heart, especially with my son who already has a lot of conditions going on. And there's this like prevailing belief, wrong belief, that these same things that you use to prevent illness also cause autism. And it's just not true. And no matter how many times you say it, no matter what evidence you show people, no matter all of the studies that have been done and all the science that shows that it's not true, people who are in this world will refuse to see it. And no matter what you say to them, they just ignore it. And most of the time I'm pretty quiet and I just try to bite my tongue. I want to caveat this as well as saying that over the course of however long this channel has been around, a year, and then before that, writing on Pathios, I've covered a lot of people. I've covered Teen Mom, and I wrote about Kail Lowry and her position on this specific topic. And it bothers me. It bothers me that she has this position because she influences very young girls and women who are, maybe not looking in the right sources and not going to the right evidence and believing someone who they look up to because they watch her on TV. And unfortunately, because of that, she posts things on her Instagram and on Twitter that's literally violations of the platforms. You cannot spread misinformation about these because it's a violation. There's a lot of evidence that vaccines don't cause autism or cancer, and yet you continue to believe it. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you can decide to ignore certain things, and then if it suits your need, but then not ignore it if you don't want to. And so in this case, you can't ignore what happens when you see them doing the different studies and looking at the patterns on the walls. You don't ignore that, but then, you know, she will ignore the over 120 studies that have been done of hundreds of thousands of children. And, you know, put the staircase argument aside. Ignoring all of that, you can't ignore 120 studies with hundreds of thousands of children proving that this link does not exist. And then as a mom of a child that is on the spectrum, it is so aggravating to have these people perpetuate this idea that it causes what my son has, and they speak about it as though it's the worst thing in the world. And that hurts my heart, because you know what is not bad? It's not bad to be a mother of a child who's on the spectrum. It's actually pretty phenomenal. My kid is freaking amazing. And you know what? He was born this way. And these people that push this narrative, they literally think that it's the worst thing in the world. It would be better for their child to pass away from a preventable illness than to potentially catch the spectrum. And that's just not how it works. And so we have to protect our children, especially in a time like today, when you can see what's happening in the world if there weren't vaccines. Think of how right now there's nothing that we can do right now to stop the spread of this virus. There's nothing we can do to protect our loved ones. The only thing that we can do is like stay inside and like try not to be like, do our best to protect the vulnerable, like my son, right? And so you can't, like, in this day and age, oh, I'm sorry, I have allergies, it's really bad. But then today she decides that she's going to drag me on Twitter because, you know, that's what she does. And I just want to say, like, first of all, like, her response to me wasn't to actually argue the facts. Her response to me was to say, well, you think you have credibility, so to each their own. So instead of actually coming at me with like a logical argument or trying to talk about it, it's immediately, you're not credible and you're an idiot, which then ends up getting all of her sycophant fans, you know, commenting and saying nasty things. And then you've got people calling me crusty balls and her laughing at it. And you know what? It's like, I have been nothing but nice to this girl on this platform, probably too nice, because you know what? Like, I don't believe in shaming people. Like, if she wants to have kids with 70 different guys and have, you know, all 70 different baby daddies and all of that crap, I don't give a shit. If she wants to do any of that, it doesn't bother me. It does bother me when choices that she makes affect my kid. And that's when I say something. But you know, I've been watching her on social media, and it's like she constantly picks at people. Anyone, instead of like actually commenting and like being supportive and like talking to her fans, she's condescending and she bullies them. And I started looking at her Twitter, and it's like, Kail, what are you doing? Why are you using your platform this way? You claim on like through your podcast and through like this like other world that it's like all about, you know, women helping women, and, you know, I'm going to be a boss lady, and I'm here to help people and lift you up and empower you. And then like you constantly drag people, and then you laugh when people are name called, and if you're confronted with, you know, anything that doesn't fit your narrative, you get so upset, you bully people. Can I tell you a secret, you guys? Earlier today, one of my subscribers who has a genetic like condition, he got Randy to, like, he said something to Randy Hoska, like Chelsea's dad, and Randy retweeted this guy and like basically was offering support to my subscriber, and my subscriber was so happy. He was like, I can't believe this has been the best day. Chelsea's dad just tweeted this is amazing. Like, that's the kind of stuff you could be doing. You could be like retweeting and helping people out and like, you know, really like using it in a way that's positive. But instead, it's constantly like picking at people. And like, really, I mean, there was a snide comment about like, what's the point of being snide to someone who's not even coming at you sideways? I have been tagged all day on people like on comments that are like calling me names and laughing at who I do and what I do. And it's like, you know what? Like, nobody's coming at her and saying, you know, hey, Kail, you sell a product that isn't FDA approved and you claim it's going to do stuff for my hair that has no scientific backing. And I don't call you out for saying you don't have credibility. Hey, Kail, you've had, you know, how many fist fights over the years with all your different castmates, punched Javi on screen during one of the scenes, got into a fight with Brianna's sister. Like, who has credibility issues? It's not me. I'm not getting into fights with people. I try my best. Sometimes there's like a pattern. You will get a negative comment and it'll be so hard not to say anything. And sometimes you do. Like, sometimes even I respond and I get a little sassy. But for the most part, like, you're never going to be able to be successful if you're not nice to the people that are like watching and supporting you and doing the things that are like giving you the platform that you have. Like, you don't have a platform without the people that want to watch you. And you know, that's why when new subscribers show up in my videos, I say, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm so glad that you're here. Or I try to comment on videos and let you know that I see you. It's why when you guys message me, I go out of my way to respond to you if I can get to them. It's why, like, I want to have relationships so that you guys know that I care. But if you're only on Twitter just to fight with people and just to start things, just to get your fans to go after people, that's not just irresponsible. It's just like a pattern of behavior that's no different than a bully on a playground. And when you're 28 years old and you're about to be a mother of your 4th child, at some point you need to say that I'm not going to do this kind of crap anymore. And at no time in this exchange was I rude to her. Did I call her names? Did I make any sort of statements about her? People were going off on her. People were calling her all kinds of names. People were being so rude, and I was not engaging in that because I don't care about that. What I care about is how you treat people. And here's the thing, all of these teen moms that act like this, your time is going to be up someday. And when you're done and when you're not making those, you're not able to cash those checks on MTV anymore, you're going to have to rely on the platform that MTV gave you. And if you can't convert on the platform that MTV gave you, you're going to be broke. And we see this with Janelle and with Farrah. Being nice to others is going to get you way farther than just being horrible. And I adore your podcast partner, Lindsay, and we commonly disagree about this behavior. We don't talk about Kail ever, but I, out of respect, have always been respectful because I know that Lindsay likes Kail. And I've never tried to drag Kail because I respect Lindsay, and that's her business partner. But there's just sometimes the behavior gets to a point where I'm just done. And like laughing at calling me crusty balls and going after my credibility, like, grow up. If you have things that you want to bring to me and show me evidence of where I got it wrong, prove it. Like, the things that I've made mistakes on, I have completely admitted. But, you know, the reason why all of these people hate me, and I'll be very clear, is because I released audio of Amber Portwood that put their franchises at risk, because that audio could no longer hide who that person was behind the scenes. That audio showed you guys who she was when the cameras weren't rolling. And it showed you how much the show is fake. And when that happened, none of these people came out and said, I hate Amber. They were just like, well, I don't condone that behavior, but whatever. None of them publicly separated from her. None of them. But you know what they did do is they came after me, and they all hate me because that audio could be the end of that series. People are boycotting Teen Mom OG, and it's gonna trickle over. And I'm not saying that I'm the cause of it. It's her bad behavior. Anyone could have released that and the same thing would have happened. I just was the one who happened to get it. And they're showing you that like this entitlement and this I'm so rich because I had a bunch of kids and I'm on a show to talk about teen pregnancy, but I'm in my late 20s now and you know I'm really helping kids. How are you helping kids? Show me how you're helping kids. Show me what you're actually doing to help kids not have babies. What are you doing? How are you helping anyone when all you're doing on these shows is fighting, is yelling at each other? It's not even, it started out as this idea of like being a public service announcement to lower pregnancy rates in the United States, which for a moment in time it did. But at this point, all it's done is created entitled monsters that act like they are so above everyone else. I'm not going to talk to you because you're some blogger. You know what? Bloggers are really the people that get the stories, and that's who is actually filtering half the stories to these bigger networks. If you look at a lot of the stories that are in these, on, you know, all these tabloids, a lot of them start on social media with the bloggers, on YouTube with the bloggers, or on the blogs. They don't, and then they're picked up wider. So you can bite the hand that feeds you, but you know, she's got the Grace report that hates her. Clearly we're not going to get along now. When you can't get along with any of the bloggers that actually like cover your show, and when the cast treats the bloggers that cover your show like crap, it only fuels this us bloggers. It proves our point. It proves our point that you are so entitled and so above everything, and you think you're so much better than everyone because you got a job on MTV by having a kid when you were a teenager. And you've learned nothing because MTV has awarded your bad behavior. Because every time something bad happens in your life, it's a great storyline. And I hope for all of you that at some point you can get off this damn show, get away from the toxicity, and grow up. Because I feel like this show has stunted all of your like maturity. None of you can even, like, outside of maybe Chelsea, maybe Macy, I can't even think of anyone else that might have some level of maturity here. It's just ridiculous. I'm so done with this. Why can't you guys do good things? It just makes you guys look bad. It makes Kate look bad that she stands behind Amber. It makes everyone look bad when you stand behind Amber. But in this world of social media, if you're not interacting with the people that are watching your show, they're not gonna like you. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, and you're gonna have to learn how to not act like trash or fight with people or whatever for ratings. And what are you gonna do then? Like, you have to grow up at some point. So I am just done. Kail, if you want to call me Crusty Balls, call me Crusty Balls. It says more about you than it does about me. But I'm not going to call you names. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say you need to grow up. You need to stop coming at your fans. You need to actually interact with people positively, because then people would actually be nice to you. And you don't get a reputation like this by simply like, you know, it happening once or twice. I was going through old videos of all of the bad behavior of you over the course of the decade that you've been on this show. And when this show is done, the crash is going to be felt. You're going to feel it. And all of you are going to have to wake up. She does. She only ever responds with negativity. It's like she feeds off the drama. She constantly feeds off the drama. She's never like, yay, you guys are the best fans. You know, it's never like that, ever. all good things come to an end. I am grateful for all of you that are amazing, and I'm not here to start a debate. Again, be nice to people on Twitter.